comparing the September issue of Vogue 2018 with a Mademoiselle from the past, 70 years ago, 1948. Hello and welcome to Fashion Bites. I'm Ellen Byerrum, author of the Screwball Noir Crime of Fashion Mysteries, featuring Lacey Smithsonian, a fashion reporter in Washington, D.C., the city that fashion forgot. I am delighted to be back with Fashion Bites after a hiatus this summer. When I started Fashion Bites last summer, I set a goal of producing a fashion bite every week for a year and sometimes more. Bob and I met that goal, and there are nearly 60 videos posted now which you can go back and look for. However, it was very work intensive, believe it or not. The better we got at it, the more complicated it became, and the more time it took. How's that for irony? In addition, my able cameraman had some shoulder issues, and I sprained my knee, which involved a lot of physical therapy and acupuncture for the both of us. It was challenging to continue the videos, and you may notice that in several of them, I am sitting down in the garden in order to favor my knee. While I am back with more fun fashion and writing commentary, I'm not committing to it every week. However, the videos will be as often as possible. It is early autumn, and I hope everybody feels revived after a long, hard, and hot summer. So let's celebrate the season. I want to talk about the September issue of Vogue, which is the grandest issue of the year. I have some observations between this current year issue and the August 1948 edition of Mademoiselle. The August issue, 70 years ago, was the college issue, and it offers an amazing view into what it meant to be a post-war co-ed. I can't really make direct comparisons because they are apples and oranges, but I can talk about some things that occurred to me and struck me. Both are advertising heavy. Vogue clocks in at a chubby 646 pages, and it's too heavy to hold for enjoyment and read. The pages are heavy, glossy paper stock. It aims at high fashion, but sometimes achieves high comedy. Now, Vogue was published as a weekly newspaper first in 1892 and continues publication today. Mademoiselle, at 392 pages, is no slouch, but you can still pick it up comfortably, and while the pages have a nice sheen, they feel somewhat lighter than those in Vogue. Mademoiselle first hit the newsstands in 1935 and sadly ceased publication in 2001. It was aimed at the fashionable young woman. It also originated the very first makeover. Among the major differences between the two, differences that have happened over 70 years, diversity jumps out. This Vogue has a diverse and global cast of characters, with models of multiple ethnicities, and it examines designers from many countries. In this issue, Vogue is also making the case for models who are 18 and older. Imagine that, instead of young girls. The magazine is geared toward women, so I agree, it is about time to use grown-up models. Mademoiselle, on the other hand, was aimed at white women, and not just white women, WASPs, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant women. There seem to be no Catholics, Jewish women, or Latinas. But this college issue features guest editors from 20 colleges and universities, giving you a glimpse at their ambitions. It was definitely the issue of the year, the one that everyone looked forward to. Both are women's fashion magazines. However, for me, one of the biggest differences is that every item of clothing in Mademoiselle is wearable, and most are very flattering. They are not overpriced. They might have been steeply priced for 1948, but if a woman saved her money, they were not in the stratosphere. A smart dress might be $14.95. A slip, $4. Genuine reptile shoes, $6 and $7. Wool coats are in the $40 area, $40 to $60. And most women could aspire to work for and ultimately purchase these clothes. They suited their lives and their ambitions. I cannot say the same for Vogue, even given the inflation of prices over the years. Lots of the clothes in this issue are sloppy and floppy and busy patterns. Yikes. Now, these are certainly beyond my income. Here is an example that I do not expect to see on the street. This is a bright red, right here, a bright red Balenciaga faux fur, which is $4,100, worn over a marine blue parka, $3,100, paired with a hooded shirt you can't see for $1,375, and a pleated skirt you also cannot see for $2,480. Vogue does not mention the heat stroke you would suffer wearing a faux fur over a parka, but I'm sure that's just an oversight. Now, in 1948, Mademoiselle featured a bright red smock coat at $59.95. Who wore it better? My vote is Mademoiselle, but you knew that, right? As for Vogue, I don't know anyone who spends that kind of money and wears those clothes. And the message here is, if you think about the cost, you are not elite enough or cool enough. While some of the Vogue models smile in this issue, it also has a lot of models who look bored, clueless, and irritated. Vogue also features the high concept ad. You're gonna love this one. Two practically blank pages, one completely white and one that says The Row, New York and Los Angeles. This is another test to see if you're cool enough to get it. I don't pass the cool test, but I could use it for scratch paper. Also, do you enjoy this cover? Vogue loves to put celebrities on the cover. It's something I really don't care about. And I keep worrying about how Beyoncé is keeping her neck up under this gigantic bouquet of flowers. It looks like it includes a heavy vase because she is wearing a long-suffering look like a saint. This picture gives me a headache to look at it. So let's take a gander at Mademoiselle, which in my opinion is so much more fun and much more usable for the intended reader. The cover definitely says fall is coming, but it's bright and cheery, although perhaps a bit more plaid than we're used to seeing. And we can also see that swing coats are making inroads. Because fabric was more plentiful after the war, at least in the United States, skirt lengths have dropped below the knee and even to below the calf. We're also seeing a lot more full skirts, particularly in date dresses. Guess what? These are date dresses. This is because back then, 70 years ago, women actually dated and went to parties. Parties where you dressed up. Can you imagine? A lot of the clothes have strong shoulders, though they are not as strong as they were during World War II, when women had to take on the weight of the world and run it as well. The war had opened a lot of doors for women, and this really was a period of optimism. Women were in college and encouraged to make it in diverse fields, only to later find the door slammed in their faces. At this moment in time, however, things looked bright for the college-educated woman, and Mademoiselle was one of the biggest cheerleaders. This was the period right before society tried to hustle women back to the kitchen and constrain them and subvert their ambition. You can trace it in the clothes and in Hollywood movies. I've noted that women wore their hair longer during the war, but by 1948, they were cutting their hair and a lot of short styles appear. Very dopey short styles. They featured a smooth crown and a little cap of hair that curled at the ends and often had curly bangs. This magazine also had things you are never going to see now, including 3 short stories by the 2 college fiction winners, and one, a comic piece from the Harvard Lampoon. Another article written by 2 college men, The Well-Briefed Weekend, discusses what women should know when they're invited to men's colleges such as Harvard, Princeton, and Yale for a special weekend. It discusses where women would stay and what to wear and how the weekends differed from campus to campus, including all the drinking that went on. But they weren't all shallow. Other articles addressed the European recovery, which was ongoing since World War II. There are also such articles as ABCs for dorm rooms and the women who spent time with professionals in the fields they wanted to pursue. Popular styles included sweater sets, suits, hats, coats, and shoes. And I love that there is a lot of forest green. There were fitted coats as well as swing coats and suits and shoes, all in forest green. So come on, bring some green back for a few redheads. So what do I conclude? With Vogue, you get some thoughtful articles and a whole lot of conspicuous consumption. With Mademoiselle, you have a glimpse into a specific time and place, a wonderful time capsule. You might want to know where I got this issue. On eBay, of course. I like to treat myself now and then with a magazine, something from the past. That's all I have for now. If you want to know more about me or my books, check out my website at ellenbyerrum.com. I am also on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. If you like this video, please hit the like button below and consider subscribing to this channel. And please contact me with questions. And feel free to share. This isn't a secret society. I will see you next time. Bye.